What's up, everyone? This is your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. It has been a long time, probably, since I've actually been on YouTube and really doing anything live or creating content. I'm gonna try to get back into that and try to do it every Friday. At least do a Diva Disturb Friday Night Live. Some of you may not know who are seeing this video, who pretty much just follow me on 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 here. I haven't really done much, but I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about grief and the loss of a parent. Those of you who are my friends are aware that February 22nd was an ordinary day up until I got a phone call that my father was being rushed to the hospital because he collapsed at work, only to get another phone call that was followed with "Daddy's gone" from my sister. So I wanted to talk about that because people are so awkward when it comes to speaking to you about it. You know, because you really don't, what can you say to anyone? Like, oh my God. And it was sad because I've had a couple of friends in the past year lose a parent. Mothers mostly. I think my dad probably is the first to pass because my line sister's mother passed away last year, unfortunately. One of my other sorority sisters from undergrad, 2 weeks before my dad, about 2 weeks before my father died, her mother collapsed and passed away out of nowhere. My father passed, and a few weeks later, one of my high school buddies, sadly, her mom just collapsed and passed. And there is no timetable on grief. It's hard. Death is hard and death is awkward. And what makes it awkward is because people just don't know what to say or do. It's like, oh my God, Afia's dad passed away or someone. Because I have friends who have lost loved ones, and you're just like, all you can give is your condolences because, like I told somebody, I said, unless you have Lazarus, unless you got somebody with that Jesus juice to raise Lazarus from the dead, there's nothing anyone can do. But I wanted to provide you with some things that you can do, things that I feel are inappropriate to say, and things that are appropriate, and things that are appropriate to do as well. So again, my bonus mom calls me. I'm sitting in my office, ordinary day. I'm thinking, good, Dad's gonna be okay. They rush him to the hospital. About 10 minutes later, my sister calls and she's like, Daddy's gone. And that was all she could say before she just broke. And then next thing I know, I walk out of my office and my coworker, Leslie, sees me walk out the office and she's like, what's wrong? And I could barely get it out and I just collapsed in her arms and was like, my daddy's dead. He's gone. Now, mind you, where I sit in my office, I'm right across from the president's office. And he comes out. He don't know what's going on. But I could hear him. I knew what he was asking. What's wrong with AJ? And, all they could say is that, my dad's gone. And then Amy comes down and she sits with me for a good 30 minutes. Do you need a car service? Then Elizabeth comes and, it's like, because, there is a concern. Are you going to drive home? Are you okay to drive home? Because you driving and crying and stuff. But I cried it out there in the office. I appreciate it. I hated the fact that I did because I'm one of those people, I personally don't like showing vulnerability in the office. I don't like showing those type of emotions. I don't like reacting with anger or tears. I just want to keep it calm and non-confrontational, quite frankly. That's me. And I'm always worried from the perspective of being a woman, especially, but also being a woman, a black woman, how people are going to judge you for being seemingly weak. And I know some people don't get unfortunately, I work for an organization that's not like that, because when I looked around, when they said all the managers, with the exception of the president, are women. Ladies first, they run this. But no, so I posted on Facebook for everyone to start praying for my father. And my next post, of course, was, my father's gone. Please keep the family lifted in prayer as we go through this process. And of course, the phone calls come, the text messages come, that type of thing. And trust me, they are appreciated. But when you call people, and if they do answer in their time of grief, because that Thursday and Friday I was on the phone, I of course talked to some of my closest friends, because some of my closest friends are not on social media as actively as I am, my best friends, and I told them what had happened. And it's like, oh my God, like, my dad just died suddenly. This was not something to be expected. Of course, we all know we got to go that way one day, but you just hope that you get a little bit more time each time you hear about this stuff, right? And so, I always appreciate the phone calls, the text messages, the words of encouragement. But one of the things I want to encourage people to do, if you don't know what to say, just say, I'm so sorry for your loss, my condolences. However, some people also feel compelled to add this part on as well. If you need anything, let me know. If you do not mean those words, do not proffer them. Because when someone reaches out and they're asking you for something, or that you've proffered this, don't do it. Now, some people are very smart. I can be here for you to provide you a shoulder to cry on or whatever. Also, one of the things that you should definitely not do is call and be mouthy and talk about things that are not relevant to the situation at hand. Whether you found out about it on social media or not, obviously you are not that close to the family where someone would give you a call, and there's definitely no need to go into a lengthy story about, is it true and all this stuff. Yeah, we're posting hoax that our father died. Yeah. But like I told my boss when I got back from burying my father and taking some days away from the office, death is just awkward. But to me, phone calls, the cards, the text messages, one of my best friends, one of my close friends, I'm so grateful to her. Her and her boyfriend showed up for the funeral, and I was so grateful for that. And then my sorority sisters, the women of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, graduates of the University of Tulsa, the Theta Xi chapter, they looked out for their sis. Because Lord knows I didn't have no money to go anywhere at this time. As I said, death, and it's February, and it's the shortest month of the year, and that means that rent is due that next week, and this paycheck coming up, because you're in between checks in my case. And I know people are like, oh my God, you make a lot of money. Okay, yeah. But, when you have been underemployed for so many years and being paid well beneath what you're worth, you got a lot of debt you got to take care of. So at that time, the bank accounts are dry, but God provided the rams in the bush. It was more than one, because one friend ended up handling my plane ticket. My sorority sisters pretty much handled all other things, gas, food, rental car, because I ended up having to avoid having to pay over $1,000 for a ticket. I had to fly into Atlanta and then stay overnight and drive to Memphis, because that's where my dad, and my bonus mom live, is in Memphis, Tennessee. But like I said, please don't provide lip service. If you want to offer condolences, do that. But if you're gonna offer something else, and then when someone reaches out, don't. Okay. Um, but words of encouragement are always good. Because my bonus mom and I, Sarah, we were laughing because we were like, death is so weird. Like, why couldn't he have died at in the middle of March or something? And no, that's just our way of dealing with it, right? Because we're like, we all know the first of the month is rent. Because like my cousins from Chicago and one of my cousins that lives in Tucson, it was just too short of notice. Because my parents had their stuff. They have their stuff together. Burial insurance, all of that. So it was no problem really getting dad. We didn't have to do all that. Um, but yeah, my dad was only 67. Yes, he was. My dad was 6'7". Yes, he was a big dude. He was obese. But for the most part, he was healthy as a horse, other than his knee was bothering him. But last time I saw my dad, when he came to visit, right after I moved to Reno, he was moving much better. Um, but one of the things I was so grateful for is that my dad flew to Atlanta to drive with me across country with my two mini horses last year, last April. I got on the road. I was supposed to start work May 1st. I didn't get to town until 5 o'clock May 1st, but it was a great road trip. And one of the things about my dad is that my dad loves animals. As a matter of fact, that whole side of the family, we just love animals. So he had a great time with his grand dogs, Ava and Willow, and they just love their Pop Pop, because that's what we call him, Pop Pop. And it was a great road trip, great conversations, great laughs. My dad he was a very funny dude. Um, Super smart too. I told you, man, my dad is like, he was a fucking genius. I wish I had half the brain capacity he had. I mean, don't get me wrong, honey. I'm pretty smart too, and very analytical and mentally agile, but not like my father. Hell, put it this way. My dad played football for Mississippi Valley State when he was in college, and ended up, how they have that red shirt year, so you basically do 5 years in college unless you decide to go to the pros, which temporarily he did. He played for the Cowboys for some preseason games until he wrecked his knee, which I think was probably the same knee that he needed to have surgery on prior to him passing away. Um, but I forgot what I was saying, Lord. This is hard, but I have to talk it out, and I just want to share because, again, death is hard and death is awkward. But I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, he played for Mississippi Valley State. Ended up graduating with 2 degrees on accident. Got a degree in criminal justice and a degree in sociology. He also attempted to attend law school as well. However, he was burnt out from doing all that studying and in school, so he ended up doing something else. And he worked for FedEx for like 22 years, and then ultimately ended up going into education, which is what he tried to avoid. But from what I understand, everyone loved Mr. Jackson, and yeah, I can understand why. He was a funny dude. And one thing about it, he was very, very proud of us. And me being the oldest out of my siblings, because there's a huge age discrepancy between my latter two siblings that he had with my bonus mom. My sister and I are 15 years apart, and my brother and I are 23 years apart. Um, so, but at the end of the day, it's just the four of us now. My bonus mom, my brother and sister. We all we got. Yes, we have other family, but we were part of the nucleus, the Jackson family. And it is not easy. And I feel most bad for my brother because he only got him for 22, almost 23 years. And to him, our father was his best friend. And it's hard. It's very hard. And then when I come back, from Atlanta and Memphis, because like I said, I had to fly in, and I stayed um, at my boyfriend's, both nights, coming and going. Um, that's the other thing. Let's just get that out there, because I have no shame. I've always been pretty transparent with my followers. I don't know what's going on, but let's just say it's the communication has been sporadic, and now it's completely like satellite dead. Like there's no signal with him. I don't know if he's giving me space to grieve, because he's that type of person where he's not really an emotional person, but at the same time, I'm like, I kind of really just wish that, you just said, look, I don't want to do this because you're crying and stuff. I can't handle it. I'm not emotional. Something, I don't know. Personally, I'm one of the people, I don't believe in holding on to dead situations, or people that want to be in your life are in your life, and people that don't, they don't. Unless they did, then that makes sense, okay? Um, but tragedy will show people's true colors, and show you who your friends and family are, who will support you and be there for you. So that happens. So my dad dies. I guess I'm being ghosted. I don't know if he's going through something. I don't know. uh if you're 52 years old, you should be mature enough to have a conversation. And I can say this because he doesn't follow any of my social media. He's not really on there like that anyway. Um, and then on top of that, um, I'm trying to see what else. Oh, and this is just funny because I know everyone, when you order plants for funerals and stuff, the first thing people want to order is peace lilies. I just want to let y'all know that there is nothing peaceful about peace lilies. They choose violence every day. They're very hard to keep alive. So I would advise not ordering peace lilies unless your family member or friend is a horticulturalist, because those things are hell. Um, but a ZZ plant is always good. hmm Those are always good. I always tell people ZZ plants are great. You can get the black one or the green one. Either one we'll be happy to take. Okay. Uh, hey Tasha. Um, but again, death is awkward. Be kind. Be patient. This next part I'm going to talk about is for employers. First of all, I think bereavement leave should be a little bit longer. Although one of my friends who is an employment attorney for the county health services in Oklahoma, she's like she is, I think, the general counsel or whatever. I said, y'all need to give people more time for bereavement, or give unlimited PTO or something. Because especially in my situation, I have been in my job for less than a year. And so I can't really take all, if any, leave that's going to pay, because I can't afford to. But I really have no business at work right now. I'm going to be honest. Because mentally, I'm there, but not really. And, the first day was hard because everyone's in your face asking you how you're doing and are you okay? And my friend Felicia put it best. If we could articulate what we really, really felt, it would be, no, I am not okay. I'm broken into a million little pieces and I don't want to be here. Not right now in this moment. Because unfortunately, many people will forget, because life goes on and it didn't happen to them. They haven't lost a parent, or they lost a parent years ago and it hurts, but it's not as fresh as the wounds that you feel at this present time. But to employers with employees who have lost a parent or a guardian that raised them or whatever, give grace, give a little mercy. Maybe things were already in motion before this travesty happened, but give grace. Some people are equipped to do that and some are not. And I'm learning that in this situation. I've had, unfortunately, at the top of starting new jobs, I've had tragedies happen. Back in 2022, I started at this job Okay, are we back? We're back. I hate when my phone rings and it does that. It'll pause the video. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this on YouTube Live, but it needs to be said because I don't think people are fully aware, especially when it comes to work. People don't realize that you're there, but you're not really. And you tell people you're going to be supportive, but sometimes that's impossible. And I get it, it's business. But at the same time, give some grace. And when I got back, of course, it was the usual, people stopping by the office, asking, am I okay? And no, I'm not okay. But of course, oh, I'm doing. That's what I would say I'm doing. But I am not okay. I'm still not okay. And, there were some things that have been said to me that quite frankly, I was like, gee, thanks. Okay. But what I most loved was our boss, the president of the company. Um, he truly is remarkable. He came in my office, closes the door, and I'm like, oh, and I was like, but he's always been that way. He's been very personable. He's sharp and direct, though, I'll tell you that much, but I appreciate that. And very charismatic individual. I think very highly of him. And he goes, I know everyone's in your face. People are stopping by, saying hi. He said, I said, Thomas, let me stop you right there. I said, death is awkward. Grief is hard. Death is hard. I said, but let me tell you this. I said, there's nothing we can do. He's gone beyond the realms of this world. Any loved one we lose, they're just gone beyond the realms of this world. Unless you got that Jesus juice and you can raise him like they did Lazarus. But no, that doesn't happen. These days, although I don't know what's going on in some laboratories. At one point I thought woolly mammoth was going to show back up at some lab. They were trying to have Jurassic Park come back. But that meant a lot to me. That's the type of support the employees need. My company is very small. And that's what I like about it, because it's personable, especially him. And, I remember the day that my dad passed. He was standing there, he came in, and he gave me a hug. Tears are like in my eyes, and he gave me a hug, and it meant so much. And that's when I knew for sure. Well, I always knew I'd made a great choice. Reno is definitely not ideal, but the company I work for is great. Now, there's been a few bumps in the road since I got back, but I think we'll work through those too. I think that there was some misinterpretations about how I responded to certain things, because I'm like, you gotta remember, it ain't even been a month at that time. You gotta remember, I'm still going through hell. To hear that your father has died out of nowhere, it was sudden. The one piece of comfort I did take in all of it is the fact that he didn't suffer. It was immediate, basically. From what I heard, my dad was retired, but he still loved being in the classroom. So he was substitute teaching. They came back from a field trip. He was at this science and technology vocational high school in Memphis. And he said, I feel hot, which we now know, of course, is one of the symptoms of you about to have a heart attack. And he asked one of the kids to go get him some water. Next thing you know, he keeled over, and they worked on him. He still had a pulse when they got him in the ambulance, but by the time they got into the hospital, there was nothing they could do. And my little brother told me when I was talking to him when I was back home in Memphis, he was like, yeah, I said, it's so hard to have seen Dad in the casket. I said, because I never wanted to believe that my dad would be gone so soon, because he was only 67. And he said, well, at least, Afia, you didn't have to do the sheet thing, because by the time we got to the hospital, they had already covered up the sheet, and then they had to fold it down. So, yeah, grief is hard. Everyone grieves in their own time. And as I was about to say, starting new jobs, even though I haven't even been there a whole year, like May will be 1 year. But I remember when I was at this one job, I had just started at the end of April. That was a strange company and organization and how they treat people. And I get it. No one gets it, but I thought that I was in the right place because like these people are dog people, right? Well, y'all know I used to have a Shih Tzu. Y'all seen Miss Pumpkin, boss lady number one, honey, Miss Pumpkin. Well, Miss Pumpkin passed away back in June of 2022, and I remember I took the day off. I really need to take the week off, but this is a new job I just started, and you would think your boss would have been a little bit more sympathetic. I said, hell, when I was at the Stagecoach, shit, they cared. If your dog died. I remember one of my coworkers took a whole week off to grieve the loss of one of his pets. But there was really no sympathy given. But when it's a parent, that's even more serious. And if egregious acts are done in that manner or ignored, that says a lot about an organization. And I'm not saying that about mine. All I'm saying is that for anyone who has an employee who has lost a parent, and you know that they can't afford to take that time away completely, to be gone 6 to 8 weeks, give them grace. Give them a grace period. Because if you're not going to give more PTO or extended bereavement leave, paid leave, give them some grace. Because you're still processing everything. I mean, this past weekend I was dreaming of my father, although it was fun because for some reason we're in some Caribbean island solving crime, but that's because I go to sleep a lot with the ID channel on. It's very soothing for me. I like true life crime. Because if y'all notice, you follow me on Twitter, I really don't talk about any of those shows anymore, like reality TV, Love After Lockup, Real House. Shit, I love me some ID channel. Evil lives here, honey. I let this, Murder in the Heartland. I like watching stuff like that. It's very soothing. But I'm just saying, y'all, if you have people that work for you and you know that they're going through a hard time, and especially in my case, like I don't really have any friends or family in Reno. It's really just me, and then I have another friend named Annie, who is one of my other good friends, cousins that happened to have moved here 7 months before. Yeah, you have your coworkers, but that's not really, we really haven't established those ways. So, just give them grace, and you don't have to be heartless and just relentless and assume that this person is going to, like, if I could afford not to be there, or anyone that I've talked to that has had, come back from bereavement, you just like, hell, some places only give 2 or 3 days. I find that interesting because I could have sworn when I was at one bank, when I was in Atlanta that I worked for, I think we got 2 weeks. Maybe it was just 5 days, but it could have been 2 weeks. You need at least that much time. And then especially if it's short notice and stuff is not in order, you need more than 3 days of bereavement. And then even if you have PTO, I mean, you're still going to need that time at some point through the year, especially because my father passed February 22nd. I still got, 10 more months to go. So I'm just saying, give people grace. Be patient with them. Death is not easy. It's very hard. I also want to say again and reemphasize, condolences, words of support, cards, text, you name it. It's great. It's great. But don't provide lip service. Don't offer things you can't deliver on. And that's all I'm saying. And no one has done that, but I always think about that. People always say, oh, let me know if you need anything. And you're just like, if you reach out, it's like, hey, I'm having trouble paying for a flight to get there. Can you help me? And I didn't have to do that because God already provided. Like I said, my sorority sisters, a couple of good friends, even just good friends stepped up, and I didn't have to worry about things. Pretty much I was able to pay my credit card back off because I was like, I had to pay it down, pay it back up, because I mean it was rent check time. Times are hard. I'm still recovering from that because there were still some other things I need to take care of that I forewent. Because I'm going to say my final goodbye to my father. I told my bonus mom, I said even if I had to drive all night, I was going to come to Memphis and bury my father with my siblings and you. Jesus be offense. But that's all I'm saying. Be supportive. We need that. And Lord knows my coworkers are the best. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be so patient with me, because it's just isn't easy. It's just not. Death is not easy. Another thing, please don't compare and contrast your fact that your parents are alive and your dad died so young. Please don't say things like that. That's very inappropriate and it's kind of offensive, because I had somebody say that to me. Oh, my parents are in their 80s, and I'm just looking like, gee, thanks for reminding me that my dad didn't live to see 80. But then again, when you're awkward, just kind of think about what it is you're saying. That's all I'm saying. Um, but I think that's it. I just wanted to hop on here. Again, I'm going to try to hop on every Friday night and talk about things. I'm sure that you all would love to hear my take on Diddy. I'm going to briefly speak on that here at the end of this video. All I'm going to say is your chickens come home to roost. One of the things that I didn't know about Diddy until I started doing some research on him, I didn't realize that his father was in organized crime and was murdered behind that. And I think Diddy was either about to be born or was a baby. And I thought about it, I said, the reason why he behaves this way is because he believes that he's imitating what his father was or would have been. You know, I'm not clear on everything because I didn't do any research, but I did see that they issued dual warrants for both his Miami and LA homes because of sex trafficking and RICO. Yeah, RICO always show up, so that means that he was part of the ring or he was the spoke. But there's been rumors for years that Diddy was low down and dirty and did a lot of bad things to people. Al B. Sure told us that he murdered Kim Porter, and then now we almost lost Al B. Sure. You know, I remember in college, my sorority sisters and I told me, we want to go work for Bad Boy. You know, we grew up when music was hot. It was Biggie and everybody, you know, we were just getting it in. And you know, then we found out after making the band, hell no, we want to work for Diddy. Because I would go upside his head and make me walk somewhere miles to go get a piece of cheesecake from Johnny's. What the hell wrong with you? That's when we should know something's wrong with him. But we knew for years that Diddy was not all right, okay? He is not okay. He is not a safe space. But again, you do dirt, it comes out. Just like this whole Nickelodeon thing. Child, when I look back at some of those shows and videos and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, this man wrote in sexual innuendos for children's programming and was grooming us. Or even not my generation, because I think a lot of those shows came out when I was in college, but my crazy ass, I watched SpongeBob, okay, as a grown-ass woman. But y'all gotta just be careful out here. All that glitter ain't always gold. I mean, I personally wanted to be in the industry, but I wanted to be in the background. I wanted to be an agent, and I still may very well pursue that. I mean, it's never too late to try. CAA, call me. I'll be the best agent ever. I'm a law school graduate. I'm very versed in intellectual property law and entertainment law. So yeah, call me. As well as trust and estate planning. But all I'm gonna say, we're gonna talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about it Saturday night. I feel pretty good. Maybe we can talk about this Quiet on Set, you know, the Nickelodeon documentary, as well as talk more about the legal repercussions of what's going on with Diddy. Trying to think what else. I need to still listen to Cowboy Carter. This ain't Texas. I forgot the words, child. I need to listen to it. I know some people are hating on Beyonce for making a country album, but she's at an age and a time in her career where she can do what the hell she wants to. I have a feeling the next one will be rock. Maybe she'll collab with my husband, Lenny Kravitz. Which, by the way, Lenny Kravitz, I just want to say to you, I'm so disappointed, honey, that you did not tell me you were going by Buc-ee's, because you did not call me to let me know. Let me know if I, or ask me if I wanted some snacks or stuff from Buc-ee's. That's all I'm saying, Lenny. You know I love you, baby. You my husband. I saw you with Sherry Shepherd. I was not happy. I was not pleased. Anyone who knows me knows I am in love with Lenny Kravitz. Always have been. I was not trying to cover Lisa Bonet's husband, but that man fine. He been fine. Plus, he my sorority sister son too. Shout out to Roxy Roker, rest in peace. Um, but again, I wanted to talk about grief, but I wanted to give y'all a few pointers about, whatever. But in the end, grace always prevails. Patience, kindness, consideration, thinking before you speak, and not saying inappropriate things, and making promises you can't deliver on. But anyways, I'll probably be back Saturday night, and we can break it down and talk more about, again, Diddy. We can talk about Cowboy Carter. And in addition to my father passing away, we want to say rest in peace to Louis Gossett Jr., an officer and a gentleman. As you know, one of his more recent works was The Color Purple. Shout out to my friend Roshan Page, who is producing a movie. As many of you know, I have a few executive producer credits under my sleeve, as well as I've starred in an independent feature film. Well, not starred, but I was a supporting role in a independent film, Obamaland, and with one of my exes, who is a filmmaker, as far as I know. I don't talk to him, but we did produce a great movie project, short film together. So I'm doing it again with my friend Roshan Page. I'm going to be also talking and promoting that, because we are going to need people to contribute for this big futuristic film that he's making. He's very talented, and if Hollywood won't do it, why can't we as a people do it? Okay. So I will be providing more details about that and how you can help contribute and get your own producer credit as well. Again, I've been Miss Sophia, this diva. Rest in peace to a great man, the big giant, my father, Frederick Christopher Jackson I, my daddy. You need a hug? I love my daddy's hugs. I'm going to miss it, because he would just envelop you completely. It's the best hugs ever. The best hugs ever. Anyway, y'all make it a great night. Again, I've been Miss Sophia, the diva.